an extra toughness in trucks. Ram Tough. Dodge Rams are a new generation of pickups. Bodies armored against rust with more galvanized steel in critical areas than any Ford or Chevy. Dodge Rams go beyond what the others call tough.
Dodge trucks are Ram Tough.
Now 10.9 financing on all new domestic 82 and 83 Dodge pickups. Participating dealers have details.
I have the 12 valve or something. Like that. Is that what He-Man says? I'm pretty sure that's what He-Man says. Would He-Man that had some He-Man vibes to it there if you were watching on video. The animation there was amazing. Would He-Man drive a 12 valve Cummins though? Would he? 100%, I think. Does that mean Skeletor would be more of like a Ford Power Stroke guy? I don't know. I think that checks out. I think that checks out. Oh, hold on. Hang on. Hold on. The Diesel Bros on the internet have just informed me that the Ram didn't get the Cummins until 1989, was it? So that means that entire joke was pointless, is what they're telling me. So, well, dang. Anyway, that's a shame. I guess He-Man drives a Toyota then. So, fine. You're happy now? Jim Miller probably is. So anyway, the gas prices. We're seeing an interesting swing in this. Gas Buddy has this report, came out just a couple of days ago, and they say Gas Buddy confirms. Gas Buddy, of course, is if you're not familiar with it, it's a service that helps you find cheaper gas, and it gives you a map of where you can find the best prices on gas. Anyway, they say Gas Buddy confirms national average hits lowest level in months as first $1.99 price surfaces. Yeah, $1.99. Who's got a $1.99 gas right now? It's not here in Colorado. I'll tell you that. And I know it's not California. It's probably $7 a gallon still in California. That would be my best guess. But they go on to say the national price of gasoline in the U.S. fell below $3 a gallon on Sunday for the first time since December 29th, 2024. They say North America's trusted fuel savings platform for Gas Buddy's North America's trusted fuel savings platform for more than 25 years. And they say the intraday national average stood at $2.96 per gallon. That's the national average, $2.96. And that is on track, they're saying, to be potentially the lowest daily average since May of 2021. So, wow. Okay, so we've got national average that's a lot lower. And when I was on my trip to Montana and back last week, of course, if you tuned in on the video version of the show, you saw that we did the show from Yellowstone while I was driving through the highway loop around Yellowstone. It was really cool. I can tell you, I saw a lot of different gas prices. I think, just thinking off the top of my head, I saw some of the more expensive gas prices here in Colorado, frankly, especially northern Colorado. Once you got out past North Denver, get to Loveland and that direction, Fort Collins, all of that. I saw it get kind of expensive out there, in fact. I saw the prices dip down once I got into Wyoming and into Montana, interestingly enough. And I would say I was paying somewhere in that ballpark of probably, and now granted, I was in the Subaru, which takes premium. It's a turbo car, takes 91 at least. And so I was paying a bit more. I was paying like $320 something, $330. I think the highest I saw was $340. So yeah, there's, and don't quote me on those exact numbers. I, at the time, didn't think to make note of them. I wasn't even thinking about it, but they say, Gas Buddy says seasonal factors could push prices even lower in the coming weeks. They are saying their prediction is that the national average could dip into the $2.80 range, which is incredible. And I think that'll, for one, mean that a lot of people will probably do a lot of driving for the upcoming holiday season. Is it too early to talk about holidays? Might be a little too early. We're already running some radio ads for the holidays on this station. I know. I heard a Christmas ad and I went, what? Halloween hadn't even happened yet. What's going on there? But I do think that if this trend continues, people are going to see We're probably going to have a lot more people road tripping for the holidays, which I'm all for that. I mean, air travel gets so congested. I griped about air travel last week on the show. I love road trips. I even did, like I said last week, I did a road trip for a work trip, and it was still fun. It was still worth it. So, that's definitely good. I think that, for one, it's more fun, but I think it'll encourage people to do that more. Now, the thing that is interesting is Gas Buddy cites a recent decline stemming, they say, from OPEC's decision earlier in the year to increase oil production, marking a shift from a 2023 strategy of cutting output to prop up prices. So they say since March 2025, OPEC has raised production. Now, I think there's some other reasons on this. And one of those reasons is, honestly, and a lot of people aren't going to like that I'm going to say it, but a lot of that, I think, comes down to the current presidential administration. We get political on this show as it relates to cars. We keep it within that field. There's especially if you're listening on my flagship station, there's a lot of politics. It's a news talk station. It's news talk. It's political talk all week, right? So I try to be your break from that on this show, but I gotta say, with gas prices, we had the Trump administration declaring a national energy emergency, and saying, bringing to the front the Unleash American Energy policy. The administration signed an executive order earlier in the year saying that the official U.S. policy is to encourage energy exploration, and production, on whether that's on federal lands or, in different areas. And that's not, and I'm not saying it's just tied to that one thing, but it's the administration's stance on this as a whole. I mean, you've also heard the phrase drill, baby, drill, right? You've heard that phrase undoubtedly, and it's true. And they're doing that. People are going to say in, the comments, and people are going to text me, oh, well, the president doesn't actually have a say in gas prices, That's kind of like a default argument for this. And that's not true at all. Yeah, the president can't just come along and say, I determined that gas is $2.16 a gallon today. No, he can't do that. But he can create policy, in a sense, and he can implement policy that actually has an effect on oil production, on supply, which is ultimately going to trickle down to you and me. Not only that, the president obviously has power to sign bills on things too. He can do executive orders, or if a bill comes in that says, hey, we're going to increase production here, or we're going to deregulate this area of the oil production industry, for example, then that comes along his desk and he can sign that, right? So he does have a lot of power in this sense. And a lot of that, too, has come from some deregulation, especially on federal lands, to get more oil. The presidential administration, too, has committed in many ways to speeding up oil and gas project approvals, especially if those are happening on federal lands, or public land as it's known to, because you and me, the taxpayer, we all collectively own the federal lands, really. But, the problem is, in the last administration, oil companies were really uncertain of what was going on and what was going to happen next. They were uncertain that if their federal leases to drill in certain areas were going to just get yanked out from underneath them. And that means they're not going to invest in it. They're not going to put more equipment there. They're not going to hire people in those areas. They're not going to create jobs there because they were uncertain. That was the stance of the last administration. The current administration has come in and has said that, hey, we want to do all of these different things. Another one of those things was lifting limits on drilling in Alaska's reserves, which, again, all of this ties into increasing our production as a whole. It all ties into that. And I would also, there's also here the creation of the National Energy Dominance Council. Again, bolstering this emphasis on creating energy and actually getting this oil and doing it as cleanly as possible. Not to mention that the administration has a good relationship with the Saudis, and we still import a ton of oil from the Saudis, right? So all of this goes, I know there's going to be people who don't want to hear it, but all of this goes into these gas prices falling, and those numbers prove it. They absolutely do. So let's keep it up. Anyway, we'll be back on the Automotive ADHD Show.